Time for another TV show I started forever ago but never finished. Heroes! And oh my god, was this such a treat to go back and rewatch because I remember the broad strokes of how this season worked, but I forgot some of the little details and mythology of this, and oh my gosh, I cannot tell you how much fun I had watching this again. Such a pleasure because this is just the epitome of a show that can give you a cast where it has tons of people in tons of different places, and there isn't that much connecting them except for chance encounters and an overall theme, and yet it doesn't feel overwhelming. It feels just very pleasurable to watch, although of course it does help that for a good amount of the transitions, at least when we encounter the characters for the first time in a specific episode, there's a caption that lets you know it's these characters that are now in this location. Some people like Nathan and Claire, they're basically the same throughout the whole darn thing, whereas for like Hero and Nikki slash Jessica, they keep changing all the darn time. So it's a good thing that they did that. And I also like how, similar to the 2004 Battlestar Galactica show, how good this show is at portraying people as having flaws, but it doesn't really sink the show at all, or your perception of them doesn't change based on if they're the focal point of an episode or not. Like with Lost, I was having that problem where a character would be great in one episode and then very flawed in the next. Here it was pretty consistent. Even Nathan, like, he's a jerk, but one, he's working for the mob boss played by Malcolm McDowell, and that was a shock because last time I saw this I didn't have a clue who he was. And also I hadn't seen Ali Lauder or Hayden in really anything else, so it was nice to go into here with a fresh perspective on all of them. It's a little weird seeing a Claire in something that Ali Lauder is in, and she isn't the Claire. Paul W.S. Redis did evil movies and Final Destination, but yeah. Yeah, but getting back to Nathan, because I went off on a tangent there, I'm afraid. He isn't all bad, but he's got a heck of a lot of problems. He does kind of start doing good at the end, but not really, yeah. Because even when he's doing things for Peter, he's doing it in a bad way, but as the season progresses, Peter is able to progress from only being able to emulate people when they're close by to emulating various abilities by himself. Though, of course, the main bit would be, why didn't they just do Isaac's bit? Well, because most of the clues had already been put out there. It just, people weren't in the same place, that's why. Because it isn't until the last couple of episodes that everyone is mostly in the same place, even when people are bumping into each other. Claire's dad being the prime example of that. It's not for that long, you know. And Claire's dad, I know that this guy has a name that is mentioned in the show, but I forget it right now. He's also a great example of a character that has multiple layers to him, because he starts off as a bad guy, but then as the show goes on, you come to realize that he might not necessarily be as bad of a bad guy as we're making it sound. He's acting as foils to Mohinder, Matt, arguably Claire. But you nonetheless get the attitude of his position kind of makes sense, and then once you learn Claire's full backstory that involves him, suddenly you realize, oh my god, he's doing almost all of this to actually protect her. And then by the end of it, yeah, he's still got some problems, but he was able to think on his feet much better than everybody else and actually help quite a number of people execute their plans and put his own life on the line willingly, despite the fact you get the attitude that this guy has been basically behind a desk for X amount of years. That was great development. Great. And just to all the other storylines, I really can't point out a storyline that was, oh my god, bad. Oh, sure, there were moments that are just like, because Hiro not being able to save Charlie. It's an important message, but it nonetheless was filler. But at the same time, you gotta have filler in there somehow. You can't have everyone constantly be in go get mode. I've never watched 24 besides like half of an episode, and then I realized I would like the show, so I stopped watching that episode. So that's the obvious example that I bet a lot of you are going to come up with, and I haven't really watched that, you know? But little nuances in there that... But other things that are more filler, such as Claire and Zach's relationship before he got cast in Sarah Connor Chronicles, which is why I'm pretty sure that he isn't in the last 40% of this season. That was good. Hiro and what's-his-face? Oh, damn it, I forget his name right now, but you know, his friend. There were times that it was annoying, other times it was hilarious. And the friend having the connection to Nikki there, it gives them another reason to go to America. That doesn't seem forced, you know? And also how Linderman, Malcolm McDowell's character, is connected to multiple people makes sense for a man of that influence, especially with the goal that he has towards the end of the season. It's a misguided goal, but it's one that you nonetheless... It's not that you appreciate it, it just makes sense. Yeah. Can't really say that much else, I think, because this is something that has been talked about to death this season. I am fully aware that most people say that the quality of this show goes down after this season, okay? I am completely aware of that, but like with the TV show Blade, if you ignore the very, very last scene, this wraps up fine on its own. So even if this is the only season of the show that I end up liking, this is still an excellent product that I really would hope would not be marred by future installments now that I've seen the Star Wars sequel trilogy. Alright, let's see what the show has in store for me.